Good morning, everyone, and sorry for the delay in starting this morning. We're just having some technical issues with one of the speakers, which we're hoping to sort out. My name is Suzanne Purcell, and I am General Manager of CitA. Firstly, I would like to say a big thank you to Arup and to Diatech, our two sponsors for the regional event series, and we're delighted to have their support. This is the second time CitA has been running its regional events virtually. So we ran them in November and we're running them again now this week. This is the second event of 5 taking place this week. We had a great event yesterday from the Galway region, and we're looking forward to a great event today from Waterford, which we now have 4 speakers lined up. Just to give you an idea, we're going to change the programme up slightly because Gordon is having issues. So we're going to start with Robert Cass, then Billy Keating, then Viviane, and then Gordon is going to try and come in at the end. So just for those of you who aren't aware of CitA and what CitA does, I just want to give you a very, very quick overview. CitA is in existence since 2000, so we're going just over 20 years. For those of you who aren't familiar, CitA promotes technology through events and training courses, and has done that through a CitA SkillNet training network, which is in existence since 2008. There are numerous different events that CitA runs every single year. It changes as per the themes. This year we are running a circular economy series, a tech trend series, and a regional event series. If you become a member of CitA, you can avail of the 30% discount of the CitA SkillNet funding, which goes off your training costs. You can promote your organisation on profile, and you have your own exclusive page on the CITA's website. And then obviously you can attend any of those events, which are all being run virtually at the moment. And the 5th CitA BIM gathering is taking place virtually this September from the 21st to the 23rd. So the 10 events that are taking place in the ASTU, which is a Circular Economy Series programme, they're all listed there below. 2 of them have already taken place. That has been run in conjunction with CIOB, GMIT and IGBC. Then we have the Technology Trend Series, and that's just showing us our sponsors again, who we're delighted to have on board. There are 10 events in the Technology Trend Series. The next event is coming up the 22nd of April, but we have moved that now to the 29th of April. The CitA SkillNet Training Network, it's a very vibrant, diverse group of member companies, and there are a huge different range of courses being offered. So do get in touch with Eleni or Marcelli. You can get through touch at admin@cita.ie. The gathering, which I said is running for the 5th time, it was meant to be the 20th to 24th. We're now just doing the 21st to 23rd. We've already received 42 abstracts, which we're delighted with. They are across the 10 different categories, which you can see there. And they are going to be moved into papers as well. And we will also have sponsors and industry presentations and case studies. So it's going to be a great, interesting event. So that's again the 21st to 23rd of September. If you want to stay in touch with CitA or be aware of any of the events or training or the membership opportunities, the CitA website is the place to go. There you'll find information on events, past events, the training schedule, the membership opportunities, and the sponsorship opportunities. The best way to stay in touch really is to follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And the best way to stay in touch in terms of what new events of recordings and that are being uploaded is really to subscribe to the CITA's YouTube channel. There's about 10 years worth of recordings from events, so it's a great resource for anybody in industry who is looking for information on specific areas. So thanks for listening, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop sharing this, and then I will just introduce Rob Cass, who is going to be the first presenter today. So thanks a million, Rob. And I'll just mute any questions. We'll save them till the end, but please put any questions that you have in relation to any of the speakers into the chat, and we will pick that up. Hopefully Gordon is going to be able to get himself back online shortly. Thanks.
Thanks, Suzanne. Yeah, apologies to everyone in advance. I've got the pre-lunchtime slot, so I'll kind of keep this fast. And we'll go 10 minutes of presentations and then 10 minutes for lots of questions. My overview today, in terms of quick intro, is I'm director of Falcon Real Estate Development, which is developing the SDZ in the North Keys in Waterford alongside some other small, what we consider on a global scale, small developments. There's about 35 million going into Michael Street. There's 400 odd million going into North Keys, and we've got 1,000 new builds in Kilbarry, which is private development. adjacent to the city to start to address the housing crisis. So I'm going to just jump into the presentation, if I may, and go full screen. At the moment, if for those that are unaware, and I apologize if I'm teaching people to suck eggs, but the North Quays is Ireland's largest urban regeneration project that's active in the country at the moment. So we're proud, and this is me, and I'm also proud, having spent 20 years internationally, to come back and actually help kickstart our own economy and our own region in Waterford, because I am from Dungarvan, having spent 20 years in the Middle East and in London. I'm just going to cover what we're about in terms of our mission, the economic outlook, and why we're putting in the quantum of investment into Waterford in the southeast, and what that growth potential is, because the bigger picture is very exciting, set against the backdrop of COVID with it being nearly over. The sites themselves, I go to the projects, the timelines, and then questions. I think what I'll do is I'll share a video of what the North Quays looks like, because that is probably the best way for people to get a concept of actually what's happening on the ground. If there are issues with the video, please shout or raise your hands, because I want to. Can you see that? Can everybody see that?
We can see a blank white screen.
Right. Okay, then it's now worked. 1 second. So I'll bring that to the front. Bear with me a second. Okay, wait. I want to share. Okay, so you can see blank screen, black screen. Yes.
Black screen and the play button. Yeah, that's fine.
And you can hear that?
Yes.
Sounds all good.
Okay. So that's North Keys video. I'm just going to hop back into the presentation now on the PDF, if I can find that. Apologies. So it should be. At the end, so everybody can see that now again. So that was the overview of North Keys. It's the largest development, as I said. It's an 18-acre site, secured planning, and testament to the efforts of the team. That was the only largest site to ever go through on board Penalla without significant planning objection first time. We secured planning last June. It's fully commercialized, which means the hotel is sold, the offices are fully sold. The retail is fully leased. The apartments are fully leased and commercialized, and we intend to start construction shortly. But I'll give you the overview of kind of what we're about. In essence, we've got over 900 million pipeline being invested into Waterford in the southeast in the next 5 years. North Quay is just the start of that. So it's 300 apartments, 15,000 square meters of space for office, which is co-working, which unlocks the jobs. So there's 1,500 office jobs going in there. You need a 4-star hotel, which is 200 keys. There's retail, visitor, tourism, experience center, which is 46,000. And all of that creates about 2,500 jobs on site and 4,500 jobs indirectly in the community for the southeast, which sees the southeast move from being one of the worst areas for unemployment to actually the city region being the lowest unemployment. And the spin-off from that means, in terms of build out in the next 3 years, it means we need to be building about, we've got an adjacent site which is 10-minute cycle from Waterford, which is called Kibari, and that will have already has planning for 373 homes with further potential for 600 homes, which will be connected by a cycle path directly into the city core, which is North Quays, and those homes have to be developed before North Quays opens because of the housing crisis. So we're very interested in Billy's presentation on modular. So we see modular being key to what we call the latter phases of that development. And then we've got another smaller development called Micah Street, which is about 10,000 square meters, 35 million investment, which is on the other side of the high street of Waterford. And that's all to be delivered in the next 4 years. So a lot going on, but in terms of why Waterford in the southeast, even pre-COVID and post-COVID, Waterford in the southeast what is the largest region, city, what we call a city region. So the catchment is 600,000, and it's the fastest growing economy between 2010 and 2019 in Ireland, and one of the fastest in the EU. And we expect that road to continue between 2022 to 2030 and onwards to 2040. As a community developer, we take a far bigger, longer term outlook, and that our role is to unlock the jobs within the community first. And so we see the North Quays, Michael Street and Kibari unlocking about 7,500 jobs in the build phase, but more importantly, upon construction, you then have a permanent space for talent. From a numbers perspective, that's important from a developer. The macro story remains intact. So it's at the moment, Waterford in the southeast is about 21 billion catchment for 603,000 people. It's a top 10 city for FDI. It's the 6th fastest growing region in the EU. So when you're an international investor, you're looking at looking into Ireland, knowing that the Dublin bubble has started to deflate. Our role is now saying, okay, how do we accelerate the growth of regions? And today, our 500 million investment into, say, North Quays and Michael Street is only a fraction of the 12 billion undersupply in real estate in the southeast today. And on the back of population growth out to 2040, there's growth of further 17 billion. So from a macro perspective, it's very attractive to be the and very exciting to be the start of unlocking some of the growth within Waterford in the southeast, and we hope many others will follow on the back of it, because it's 39 billion is the undersupply potential to 2040. So our 900 million is only a fraction of that spend. The 3 large sites, brownfield, greenfield, planning secured on all 3, development ready to build. And then in terms of timelines for North Quays, yeah, as I said, it's an 18-acre strategic development zone, and one of the largest in Ireland at the moment in terms of regional regenerations. Cabinet granted SDZ back in 2015, planning secured in 2018, outline planning, and then 2020 the government committed to 140 million, which is the infrastructure to enable the development. That means essentially the train, which will be 60 minutes every 60 minutes to Dublin, is moved across into the site. It means that the bridge is built by the state to unlock the catchment, which is on the adjacent side, which is Ferrybank. And importantly, the greenway, the bus, the rail are all moving onto the site to make what's called an infrastructure-led regeneration. And the summary is then the 6,900 jobs. New homes are only 300 on the site itself, because we viewed that the affordable living is better being built on the adjacent sites, because it's frankly cheaper to live outside the site than it is on the site because of the expensive podium piling cost. And why that's relevant towards housing is Kilbarry housing is 95 acres, planning approved for 373. The way we've designed it, we're saying it's the most sustainable new village, with 50% less carbon emissions than the standard build. We've got solar tiles on the actual design, so that namely if you're moving into the homes, they're NZEB as well as being energy generation. So we worked hard with both the council and the Irish banks to bring them up to European standard of discounting mortgages, with the credit unions as well, for between 30 and 50 bips, or what that means is if you're buying the homes, the home savings from energy pays for the value of the home over the lifetime of a 30-year mortgage, relative to spending money on an ICE or car with emissions or your benefit in kind. And it's a very new model for Ireland, but it's pretty common in the rest of Europe, and it's pretty common in the rest of the world. We're targeting that modular in itself will be 20% of the build at the back end, because we see modular being key to unlocking both affordability and faster supply rates. And this is what we call a flagship project for the government, because the scale is quite significant, and we play an important role to actually set new trends within Ireland that are the right trends, that it's connected up, such as car sharing models with connectivity via cycle lanes rather than addiction to cars, and having the need for a car parking space. You actually can remove it and car share, which is attractive to the younger population. Michael Street's 4 acres, small scale, 10,000 square meters, 380 car park. In essence, we are doing that to opposite North Quays, because it's in the other end next to the university, so we'll tend to have outlets and brands to sell that are more attractive to the student population's walking distance, and it's small relative to the other ones. Timeline on North Quays, where we're at the moment is we're probably 6 months behind schedule because of lockdown and COVID, but in June we intend to get onto site and start building, with the infrastructure going to tender. We've pretty much concluded who is going to be our development partners, and that will be announced at the back end of June, so we can start build. It's a 2-year build, 1-year build of the podium piling, and then 2-year build construction. So the councils, which is important, the state build allows them to start in parallel, and there will be about 800 jobs in that side of it, and then 1,000 on our side on the build phase, which we would hope to then complete opening in 2023, 2024. So it's quite a long ways off. In the meantime, Kilbarry and the housing side are going, how do we start to close some of the housing crisis? Means that it's already started yesterday on some of the phases, and that's the good news. And we've on site 177 homes being built a year. We tend to ramp that up to 200 homes a year in 2022, and then modular 2023, working with the NSAI on changing the standards to accommodate modular. So we're working quite closely on them. Michael Street, smaller development again, starting December. Construction commences 2022 and then completes in 2024. That's the whistle stop tour, because I want to open it up to questions, because I'm guessing there might be a few questions on what we're thinking and why we're thinking it. So that's me done. Suzanne.
Hi, Robert. That was great. Thanks a million. I think Gordon is still, no, Gordon, are you there? No, we've lost Gordon again. That was super, Robert. That was a brilliant presentation. Thank you so much. That was really enjoyable. I think there's going to be enough. There's a good few questions, I think, that are starting to come into the chat. Yeah. So Gordon is hoping, he's now hotspotting off a different phone, I think.
I'm here now, Suzanne.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Do you want to take over? We can hear you, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I had to hijack my wife's phone there, and it seemed to have gotten a connection. So hopefully it hangs in. So yeah, look, Rob, thanks very much. That was great, Rob, and thanks, Suzanne, for covering for me there. And apologies to everybody. That's just, hopefully the rural broadband scheme will reach me soon. And Rob, thank you very much for stepping in at the last minute.
Yeah, no worries.
Literally the last minute, and coming in and helping us out. But it's always great, you know, to hear how things are going on the North Keys project, because our architectural department studios look out onto the North Keys. So we've been, you know, we've had many a project over there, and we've seen it develop to where it is at the minute, and really looking forward to watching the progress. And I'm sure we might be get our boots dirty and come over and see what's happening with it with the students. So do you want to do questions now, or do you want to wait to the end?
No, guys, far ahead. So who wants to lead in the questions, or does people want to put their hand up? So
yeah,
Martin,
take a couple now.
Yep. Who wants to go first?
You're on mute, Alan.
Yeah.
Wrong background
as
well. Sorry about that.
Alan, you're on mute.
Yeah, no, I've got you off now, Alan. As I said before, I'm a man, I can't multitask. So if somebody can drive the mute and the unmute button, that'll help.
Sorry about all the changing of the backgrounds there. Yeah, just wondering, will you be working with WIT at all now during the project?
Well, we have throughout it. So in the first one in Kilbarry runs our design brief that we set back in 2016 was, how do we create zero to grid homes? And they were the ones that led that, because there was a lot of doubt, skepticism, denial, I would call it, in government, that it could be done even within WIT, if I'm blunt, that they went, okay, well, solar batteries doesn't exist. Well, it did. So they were the ones that led the modeling to say, how do we create a zero to energy, so zero carbon emissions once you're in the development, once you're post-development. WIT did that. I'd like to have more involvement with WIT now that we're posts and ready to go into construction. So particularly we use BIM. I think I'd like to I'm very interested in the circular economy. I'd like thoughts and welcome approaches. I think we're pretty open and collaborative and saying, okay, we'd like to use this, because we're very much in how do we help innovation in the region come to life, but particularly on modular. So I said there was 3 priorities. First is the first priority on the housing side is modular. The second priority on North Keys is going, how do we come on with innovative delivery techniques on the construction side? And then the third priority for me is going regeneration. So I think it's an Irish obsession with new builds. I'm more interested in now in how do we unlock the vacant units in the city, and they're for the regions, because we've 50,000 homes that are within 5 kilometers of the city. And as a developer, I think we have a moral obligation to unlock them rather than this obsession with new builds, because that's just sprawl. So we're going to be taking quite an active role on regen of about 200 to 500 homes being regenerated within the city per year. And once we've got that model up and running, we intend to replicate it across other regional cities. No interest in Dublin. Dublin's overvalued.
Okay.
Dublin doesn't need help, doesn't need flow. So more than happy to take any offers through either LinkedIn or through email to say, okay, they want to collaborate. So
great. Thanks for the presentation. It was excellent, and best of luck with the project. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And anything else, guys? Developer, I think that answers the WIT. Are there any more questions?
Yeah. I'm just looking there. There's no any other questions in there. Does anybody want to jump in with a question?
One new message. Yeah, I think
Okay.
everybody's typing.
Or maybe we might, are you able to hang on towards the end, Rob?
How long is it for, Gordon?
You hear me okay, Rob?
Yep.
Okay.
I think that's Gordon probably can't. It's due to finish by 2 o'clock.
We'll
at the
be
end.
about
I
another
don't
40
know.
minutes.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
just so if any questions come in at the end there.
I just I'm more than happy to stay on and listen. I'm very interested to hear what both the next two presenters
Yes.
because it's much needed innovation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got, there'll be 45, 50 minutes in it.
How do we unlock the what's called the housing crisis in the region is probably where Billy needs to kick in on modular.
Okay.
I think
I don't know if it's my connection there, but everything jumped around.
I think it's your connection, Gordon. We might just move on to Billy Keating, will we?
Look, can you hear me okay there, Rob?
I think it'd be suicide to blame your wife, Gordon, for your reception.
Yeah, I think we might move on to Billy.
Do you want to introduce it? My line's breaking up.
That's fine. We'll introduce. So, Billy, we're delighted to have you now for the second.
No, I'm not doing that. No. I'm on my third device at the minute to try and get connected.
We might mute you, Gordon.
Yeah, mute Gordon there. Yeah.
Shannon, can you doesn't seem to work there, or maybe anyway. Billy, we're delighted to welcome you now to the second event of this week. So Billy Keating is the BIM coordinator and design lead for Asgard Modular Manufacturing, and the title of Billy's presentation is the integration of BIM 360 as a CDE to improve workflows in a manufacturing facility. So we leave you go, Billy. Thanks a million.
All right, thanks very much. I'll just say beforehand, if you're looking for the answer to the housing crisis, you're in the wrong place here. My name is Billy Keating. As you said, I'm a BIM coordinator and design lead for Asgard Modular Manufacturing. We are a new department of Asgard Clean Rooms. Is probably the more well-known name for us. That designs and manufactures off-site clean room pods. Our department is relatively new. We're about 3 years old, but we came a long way in a short period of time. We act as the main contractor on behalf of the client, as well as CD management, submittals, handle RFIs, quality testing, etc. Just to give you a bit of a background about our modular pods, I'll just give you a quick look at our standard range. So this is typically something that you'd see us design and install. So there's a double clean room pod, and there's just another double, and that's a single. And where you might see these used now at the moment is they're being used by BioNTech to produce the COVID vaccine for Pfizer, and they're producing roughly 30 million a year with plans to produce, or 30 million a week, with plans to produce 25 million per week. Okay. And just kind of to give you a brief synopsis of the presentation, it's the integration of BIM 360 into Asgard Modular Manufacturing workflows. BIM 360 has only recently been adopted by Asgard Modular Manufacturing and has now led to a complete new workflow across the board. The presentation will take you through some of the evolving workflows for the management and coordination of subcontractors and the future plans for the common data environment. I suppose until a couple of months ago, we didn't actually use CDE here. It was kind of a mixture of the File Explorer, Dropbox, OneDrive, and WeTransfer that was used to share models and files. It's probably not ideal. I suppose data will get lost. The wrong files will be shared. There's no paper trail. and other small bits like that I'm sure you've all run into problems with. So just to give you a quick look at the old workflow first. The work in progress and construction model is stored in a private server. The models are shared with the various subcontractors using WeTransfer, OneDrive. As you can see, there's no real way of managing model revisions or have any real paper trail of when models are last edited or shared. You can see from the snip here, there's not any naming convention used either. And then when we're intaking models, what was happening was they were being stored on the private server. They were sent usually using WeTransfer or OneDrive links. The models were then linked to the work in progress models and federated models through the File Explorer. Models received superseded the previous versions, but there was no real revision management being used. So there was no record of dates or when models were shared. So there was kind of just, there was no paper trail. You were kind of losing copies and other problems like that. RFIs are also stored on a private server. They were sent via email using an RFI template. The status of the RFI is managed using an Excel doc tracker. Handling RFIs this way makes it hard to keep a record of dates, times, and the RFIs can be missed as emails are usually unseen or just ignored. Submittals are sent to a client for every piece of equipment that will be used in a pod design. They were stored in a private server as well and shared via email. This kind of left us with no record of dates, or it could be obviously missed or ignored again. So first thing down, we decided to make a new workflow with the addition of BIM 360 was we wrote out a BIM execution plan. So in the BIM execution plan, we outlined the project information, project planning of work and data segregation management, planning and documentation, standard measurement procedures, IT solutions, project objectives and goals. And this is shared with all contractors and must be followed. And it's done in accordance with BS 1192. So I'll just kind of take you through in detail what's outlined in all of these headings. So in 1.0, the project information, you have project information and the purpose of the document. In 2.0, you had the planning of work and data segregation, the coordination and class detection, coordination process, compliance plan, and level of development. In management, you have roles, responsibilities, and authorities, survey strategy, legacy data use, approval of information, PIM, authorization process, communications and meetings, program to join with previous information above. In 4.0, you had project implementation plan, agreed project process for collaboration and information modeling, agreed matrix of responsibility across the supply chain, and agreed project process for collaboration and information modeling. For 5.0, you had the volume strategy, the PIM, origin and orientation, the file naming convention, the layer naming convention, agreed construction tolerances, annotations, dimensions and symbols, BIM 360 management, and model data validation. For 6.0, you had your software versions, exchange formats, and process and data management systems. For 7.0, you just had the project objectives and goals. So for the folder structure that we decided to go with, every team involved gets a work in progress, published, archived, incoming, and resource folder. There is also a federated folder which contains a federated Navis and Revit folder which all contractors have view and download access to. And just to break these down a bit further for our work in progress, I'm sure everyone's kind of familiar with it. It's hasn't been checked or verified for any outside use for any other teams. And then the published is documented and created a project milestone such as approval, construction, and as built. An archive folder is where information is stored in designated archive location, including published, shared, superseded, and recorded information. And the archive data should be clearly marked as archive, so there's not any use of any old files. Incoming received from external file sources such as vendor files. These files are stored here, not edited. For example, this would be an incoming CAD layout or materials list from an external source. Resources, this is the BIM resource library as well as other useful company documents. A copy of the BIM execution plan for the project will be stored in this folder. And the federated folder. A federated model is a combined building information model that is compiled of several different BIM models from different disciplines into one. This input model will be read-only and use a free viewer to allow all project members to monitor the BIM process at all stages of the project. This federated model will comprise of information from the shared folder and will also be used again to assign issues and markups. The design collaboration tool. This is used to share models between disciplines, meaning that you'll submit a package. This is done to avoid any other projects linking to a work in progress model, which might be incorrect under change. Using design collaboration, a contractor submits a set of drawings and a BIM model to the other disciplines. The other disciplines can then choose to accept or reject this model after it's used as a link file. This also keeps a timestamp of when it's shared, accepted, or rejected. It's important as it keeps all contractors accountable to all the milestones, dates, and recorded dates. Files such as submittals are shared via the BIM 360 transmittal process. This keeps a record of when the submittal is issued and to who. Using this over email avoids any confusion, as it saves for project, and also gives an email informing you that has been sent. This keeps a timestamp as well, so it's handy. It keeps a record of everything. Following completion of the snags are now done using the BIM 360 mobile app or a tablet. Construction supervisors use an iPad down and they walk the site, and they'll basically tag it and assign it as it is to the various subcontractors inside the model. So this kind of goes through the flow of open, work completed, and closed. So it's whoever it's open by has to reclose it. So it'll be opened by the supervisor. It'll be work completed by the sub, and then if the supervisor closes, if he's happy, he'll close it. And just kind of a few future ideas for the workflow that we're looking at now at the moment is handling our RFIs via the BIM 360. RFIs can be created and managed easily using BIM 360. Currently, we still use an Excel tracker and a stored and private server, which is far from ideal. Through BIM 360, the RFIs can be set up by using subcontractor review onto a client manager. The workflow can set up by BIM 360 very useful and allows everyone on the project to get the answers and the questions that's being involved in the job. And another kind of internal one that we're looking at using it is for the clash detection. We're looking at integrating Navis Manage with the NWF file to the BIM 360 project, and that'll allow us to use it as our clash detection and assign all the clashes as issues to the various subcontractors. And this is useful as it kind of creates a matrix then, so that we can all keep track of it via the BIM 360 project. That's it all then, lads.
That's great, Billy. Thanks a million. I'm not sure if Gordon is back with us or if he's gone. Alan Hoare, did you want to pass any comments on that?
Yes, sorry, Suzanne, I'm here on your shoulder. Don't worry. I just a question there for the presenter there. Just to what extent does the end user request the BIM files from Asgard? I mean, are you're obviously providing the physical facility, but do they require the digital facility as well?
Oh, they do, yeah. So like they'll look for an issue for construction and an as-built Revit file.
And what do they do with it then, Billy?
Well, look, to be honest, I don't really know. Like,
Huh?
I think they just like having it for their own records. I suppose they paid for it.
Yeah, but I mean, they have an operations team, presumably. And they would perhaps need it to integrate into their BMS system or whatever?
Yeah, I suppose, yeah, their management system, and I suppose using it for any future facilities management. I suppose most facilities now would have a federated file,
Yeah.
you know, of their own facility, and I suppose they want to drop it in.
Yeah, we have a question there from Aaron Callahan there. A great presentation, Billy. Was just wondering what led Asgard to choose BIM 360 as their common data environment. Did you consider any other platforms?
Not really, no. I suppose at the moment everything's kind of looking like the industry standard is BIM 360. So I didn't have any complaints about it. I don't think anyone else really did when we were pushing that direction. Like,
yeah, I mean, I suppose would the client request that? Is this something, you know, your journey with BIM is obviously a corporate decision, but are you finding that some of your cleanroom clients are requiring this?
well, since we're only using it maybe the last couple of months, we've had one client use it, and they've actually viewed models using it, and they've looked for drawings to be published using it. So I suppose the clients are quite happy that we're using it.
Okay, very good. So do you have any other questions? If anyone just wants to ask any other questions of Billy?
Can you hear me okay, Alan?
Yes, you're back, Gordon, yes.
Well, I might be back, I might be gone, who knows?
I know, well, we're doing fine, yeah.
Yeah, good. No, I can watch the presentation there, and it was great, and really good, Billy, and it was great to see it all. And I don't think you kind of, you know, when you were introducing at the start, mentioned that Billy graduated last year, and you know, went to Asgard and brought the skills that he's been doing.
All right.
On from the college in there, and it's great to see it being applied. And you know,
Yeah.
from our point of view, you know, linking in with industry and teaching relevant skills that industry needs is great to see, and it's really good. When I spoke to Billy and he was telling me what he was doing, I says, Billy, that'd be great for you to get out there and show what's happening, and particularly with a company like Asgard and the clean rooms. You know, the process is really good. And I'm just wondering, Billy, have you noticed any productivity gains?
Yeah, I think there is definitely. Now, I didn't have too much experience of it not using the BIM 360, but I think in terms of even model sharing, you're not losing as much information or data, whereas with the retransfer and the OneDrive, you're losing it at every step, and you're constantly downloading and resending, and then you could miss something. And I think it's a way better system altogether. Like,
and how have your colleagues who have been there, you know, for a while adapted to it?
I know everyone. It's very easy to navigate around. It's very easy to use. Like, as long as you're not running your internet, Gordon, it seems to work fine.
Yes. Okay. Any other questions there?
As you say, Gordon, it's important work, particularly working with the vaccine companies, you know.
Yes, I think you were saying to me they'd gone over to Germany. Was it a lot of your modules?
Yeah, Germany. So that's where they're producing the Pfizer vaccine at the moment. So they're producing, I think, 13 million a week at the moment, with plans to go up to 25 million.
Okay, and no plans to move into housing?
No, not enough money in it.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Well, I don't. Yeah.
Well, just a quick question on where they manufacture. Is that in Kilkenny, or where is your manufacturing?
Yeah, so we're based out in Castlecomer. So there's a large factory, and our offices are based on site, so they're produced below us.
And then they're delivered by truck then to the port?
Yep, they're delivered by truck and then go on a plane or on a boat. Or
okay. And what size modules are they? I mean, are you restricted by the size of the modules?
Sorta. I think as large as we can go is about 4 meters by 15 meters. But then that's why I kind of showed that there's a double and a single. You can put 5 together, and as many as you want, really.
Very good. Well, thanks very much, Billy. That was really interesting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Billy. That's great, and I'm sure we'll be keeping in touch and going forward and seeing how things are developing on that. So thanks again. Viviane, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so I suppose if Billy stops sharing screen, and you should be able to take over there. Okay, and our third speaker today is Viviane Esposito, and you're going to be talking about lean construction implementation roadmap. Okay, which I understand there's a linkage between, a similarity between the BIM processes that we talk about and what Billy's gone through and lean construction. So can I let you take it away, Viviane?
Yeah, okay.
Right, thank you.
So first of all, good afternoon. I would like to thank you everybody that is presenting here in this event. My name is Viviane Esposito. I'm a quality and operation manager in Quality Positive. I'm also a civil engineer. I have a master in quantity survey that I finished last year in Limerick, IT. I also have some postgraduate experience in project management, construction management, and I'm a Lean Six Sigma Green Belt and ISO Auditor 9001. And now I want to share some experience about the Lean Construction Roadmap with all of you and how can you implement a roadmap in an efficient way in your company. So I'm going to start with the summary of my main points. So I'm going to talk about why Lean construction, just a little bit of overview, why a roadmap, the steps to create a roadmap, some case studies, and the conclusion. So the first question, why Lean construction? Well, we are now in a severe global crisis. We are in COVID, so all companies start to think about how we are going to recover from the COVID, from all the delays in construction. So now the leaders need to start to think in a new operation models to respond quickly. So we need to be more efficient, we need to be more productive. And I believe Lean has all the ingredients to make this possible. So now we are in construction 4.0. So we start from construction 1.0. Now we are in construction 4.0. So now we are in a smart industry with big data, with digital, and more than ever, Lean, green, and digital is all connected. And if you want to start to improve competitiveness and productivity in your company, Lean provides the foundation for this operational excellence. So this is why Lean now is a great opportunity to improve construction, because as everybody knows, construction is some years behind other industries, and now is the time to start to think about improve, start to think about how to be digital, how to improve our process, how we improve our workflow, how to reduce the waste, and Lean is the key for this. So the thing is, some companies start to implement Lean, but they are not successful. And in my master thesis that I finished last year in LIT, I tried to investigate the barriers and the facilitators to implement Lean construction here in Ireland. And the three main points that I discovered is that, first of all, there's a lack of Lean understanding or inadequate awareness of Lean, or there's a lack of top management commitment support, and limited involvement in design by parts. So this is the three main reasons that it's a kind of barrier to implement Lean here in Ireland. And so if you think about the lack of Lean understanding, and you can start to think about what is the main mistake that that happened because of this. Some companies actually start Lean before understanding the organization context. So the main point of mistake is like they start to implement tools. Lean are not just tools. Lean is a philosophy. It's a mindset. So some companies like want to start Lean in a fast way. They just go direct to tools, and they start to use a wrong tool to solve a problem, or they use like a single tool to solve all the problems, or they start to use all tools for every problem. So they start to lose focus. And this is one of the main mistakes to Lean implementation. And how to be successful? First of all, do not start with tools. First, try to understand the level of maturity of your company first. What's the Lean level of your company? Understand, get the gaps, and create the Lean roadmap. This is the way to be successful. So you can start the Lean implementation. You can start waving Lean thinking into your organization DNA. And why a roadmap? When you create a roadmap, after you think about the Lean maturity of your company, the roadmap will provide you a guidance, like a well-planned procedures. The roadmap will provide a framework to implement the Lean concepts in a way that is more effective. So it will provide guidance, it will provide the foundation for your company. And so you are going to get the organization context. You are going to see the Lean maturity first, see the gaps, and after you have the material to understand how to implement Lean, what level, when implement, the time frame, what implement, what kind of tool my company can use now. Is my company has like the maturity to start directly with less consistent or not? They have all the lean understanding. My employees know what is lean. So this is why you need to understand first the organization context, because the lean roadmap will provide a foundation. And this is the main thing to make your implementation, your roadmap efficient and successful. So some key points about the roadmap is that it's not a cookbook. Every roadmap will be different for each company. And the implementation should take into account the individuality and the special requirement. Every company is different. Every company will have a context. So the roadmap for one company will not be the same for other company. Every company will have different levels of lean. And another thing is lean should be seen as a direction rather than a state to be reached after a certain time. So lean should be inside of the company philosophy, of the company organization. The employees need to understand what is lean, and they need to start to think what can be improved in my process every day. This is continuous improvement. So now let's begin with the lean construction roadmap. So we have just 4 steps, yeah? So the stage 0 is investigation. You need to investigate your company, your structure, and identify what is the lean maturity level of your company. After, you need to start the preparation and design. In the preparation design, you're gonna get the gaps that you got from the first stage of the investigation, and you can create the framework, like the time frame, what type of tools, what I need to implement, and finally, you can start the implementation. After the implementation, you can start the control and the standardization process. So you implement, you control, you start to see what's working, what's not working, what should be improved, and you start the continuous improvement. An important thing is you can just start the implementation if you understand if your company has the lean knowledge, awareness, or understanding. If your company don't have the lean knowledge and awareness, you cannot start to implement lean, because your company, your employees, they need to understand what is lean first. And this is the key point to have a successful implementation. So let's get some points regarding the stage 0 investigation. So in the investigation, you need to start to do the lean assessment. In this point, you need to think about what is the company maturity in terms of lean. So go to the office, go to the site, do site visits, because the office and site is different environments, and people in the office will have another kind of culture, another kind of mindset, and people on the site will have another kind of mindset too. So you need to visit the office, you need to visit the site, you need to do interviews, you need to get evidence documents. And so we are going to start to understand what is the maturity of lean of your company. In this stage, we usually use the Hellman model assessment. This is the highway angle lean maturity assessment, and it covers 10 areas. So this assessment has 10 areas to be covered. Every area will be a kind of questions, and based on these questions, we are going to understand what level of lean maturity your company are. So we are going to investigate regarding the integration of lean in the business strategy, lean leadership engagement, understand the customer value, process and the value stream, the use of methodology and tools, organization coverage, performance, lean collaboration, climate, culture, and you're gonna get some points regarding every area, and you're gonna discover what is the lean maturity stage of your company. So in this model, we have 4 lean levels, from 0 to 4. From 0 is not start yet, to 4 excellent organization, wide achievement. So that is the more difficult level. In the stage 1, is after the stage 0. And you're gonna, after you get the level of your maturity of a company, you can start to identify opportunities of improvement. You can start to think up, to understand, and base it on the gap analysis, what is missing. You need to start to design. So you can start to design regarding which tool I can put in your company, what kind of a training level, what kind of KPIs my company can start now, and what is the time frame. In the stage 2, we're going to start to implement. So after design, after you understand what kind of tools my company is prepared to start, you can start to create your implementation with your time frame and with all tools and all kind of lean tools you can implement in your company. So you can create the lean understanding awareness with training, visual management on site, 5S and storage improvement, gamble walks, less planner, business and process and standardization, and data digital solutions. So this is just an example of lean tools that you can implement in your company based on the design stage, based on your gap. The stage 3, we are going to start the standardization of your lean. So you can start to analyze the performance. You can conduct periodic 5S internal audits. You can get the results of your Gemba. You can get the results of your data analytics in Power BI, or a results of your Snag software. So in the stage 3, you are going to control and you're going to standardize based on what you start to implement. And finally, in the stage 4, you are going to start the continuous improvement. After you get all the results that from the previous stage, you can start to think about how can I be better? What can I think differently? How can I improve this process? Can I reduce more waste? So you can review your data and try to continuously eliminate waste to improve your results. You can introduce, for example, an annual 5S and Lean Awards, where efforts of employees and workers will be recognized. You can share the Lean experience annually with the employees. And you can extend the implementation in other areas. So you can start small, and after you can start to implement Lean in all areas of your company. And finally, you can go forward to the next level of Lean maturity. If you're in the level 0, you can go straight away to the level 1, level 2, from level 3, and level 4. So you can continuously improve your level of Lean and start to focus on the gaps to reach the next level. Now I'm going to show some case studies. So this is the one case of a Lean roadmap that my company started to implement in an Irish company. It's a case in progress. So in this company, we start with the Lean assessment, the HELMA model. Based on the Lean assessment, we did the gap analysis. We create the Lean roadmap, and we are now in the phase of implementation. And after continuous improvement, this company is now in the level 2, and this company is now in the level 1, and the main goal is start to go to the level 2. So the company starts to show some initial progress in some areas, and now they want to develop it and deliver good practice in specific areas. So the goal now is reach level 2. So this is an example of the one-year roadmap that we create for this company based on the level. So this company is in level 1 and they want to reach level 2. So first of all, they need to start with the Lean understanding, spread the training in all companies to make all the employees understand what is Lean, what's the Lean philosophy, and they try to understand what can be improved inside the company first. And after, we can start with the visual management, 5S and storage, data capturing, snags, defects. Start to think about the 8 ways of lean, client satisfaction surveys. Start to do gamble walks on site. Implement and create lean KPIs, supplier performance metrics, 5S, create a lean champion training with the main managers of a lot of departments. So we can start after the last plan system, standardization of all work, define a business process, whiteboard tracking, more structured lessons learned. And after the roadmap, the company will start to be ready to create their own lean KPIs, create implementation roadmap regarding site visits, regarding training, create their dashboards to put on the site, on the construction site, create their gamble walks, and create the process rationalization and start to think about how to streamline, how they can be more efficient. So everything was based in a good roadmap that was based in the study of the real lean stage of the company. And after that, you can start to do the data capturing and see what, and based on the data, what is the main waste of the company. So if you don't measure, you don't know what to be improved. So this is just a start the roadmap that is constructed based on the lean assessment, based on the real gaps of the company. And this is the ingredients for the successful. This case too, it was a company South America. It's a lean construction company founded in 1980. The company has built more than 100 residential and commercial buildings in prime areas in cities in Brazil. This project was 99 apartment blocks with 14 apartments each, and extensive laser area finished in 2020. So this company was already in the level 2, and they wanted to go to level 3. So they have a higher level of maturity, and all the framework for the lean roadmap was followed. We did the lean assignment, gap analysis, lean roadmap, implementation, continuous improvement, and based on this, the roadmap was constructed regarding the physical floor planning, visual management on site, data system, tool and techniques like last plan system. So based on the gap analysis, the roadmap for 1 year was created, and all the lean tools that fit the gap analysis was created to continuously improve and make the company reach the level 2. So they start to do the production system design on site. So they start to study the workflows, define the capability, they start to implement last plan system and visual management on site. So as this company was already level 2, all the engineers, the civil engineers on the site, they already have a great understanding of lean, and they already have the last plan system training. And so they were, as they were in another level, they was always trying to improve, always trying to see how they can reduce waste. And this was already inside of the company philosophy. So this is why the company was already in the level 2. So some results regarding this company, that this is the visual management on board. So they put some TV screen on sites. They put magnetical boards. So in the magnetical boards, you can see all construction site and where every material was disposed. So it was very organized. They start to create the balance lines. They start to create visual management with PPC, present plan complete with quality, present plan complete with safety. So all the employees go to their room, they can see the productivity, they can see what stage of the product they were. And they start to put also crew performance with contractors, with subcontractors, and it was showing a kind of television site. So, and also in the cafeteria. So they make this to have transparency of the information and encourage continuous improvement. So other subcontractors also want to show to others that they have a good productivity. And they also create a reward system. So the main point was to encourage the use of new techniques and increase productivity. So the crews that was more productive start to receive a reward, receive a kind of prize for the best average among the lead indicators. So all the workers start to think about, oh, I want to be productive, I want to be rewarded, I want to be recognized. These pictures here is like also the before and after define inventory areas on site and physical flow studies. So we can see on the first picture on the left, so the blocks, they were not organized and it was difficult to get after they start to organize all blocks. So it improved the productivity and also it reduced the chance of accidents. And they also start to introduce site digital solutions. So they noticed that there was a need of ensure accuracy in the measurement of indicators of all services. So they start to put control services in mobile devices on site. So the data was sent directly to the system database via Wi-Fi. So they start to know when every apartment was finished, in which time, which crew, and what service was happening straight away in real time. And they also put some tablets in some machines. And in these tablets, they could see a daily program of activities in priority order. So it makes the operator know about the block and the activity in which should go and do. So it improves productivity too. In the end of this project, as we can show in the first graphic, in the first chart. So we can see before Lean, there was a kind of difference, a kind of variation between the percentage per complete and the percentage per complete with quality and safe. After that, we can see they start to be more streamlined. So all the activities start to be completed like the baseline, like they expected. So we can see the improvement on site. And another thing is about the productivity of the brickwork. We can see in the chart too that the productivity had increased. First, before the apply of Lean, it was 10 square meters per man per day, and after it reached 60.5 square meters per man per day. So there was increase in productive, and it was a great reduction, and there was a great reliability, transparency in all text. So in the end, we have a reduction of machine hours of 8%, reduction of material waste in 37%, and average cost reduction of workers, rework, material waste, machine compared with similar project of 23%. So these results means that Lean can improve productivity, Lean can reduce cost, and Lean is the key now in time of COVID to make your company more productive. To conclude, the Lean approach has already started in the Irish construction company, in Irish construction industry. We can see that a lot of companies are already in the Lean book of cases in the Lean Construction Institute in Ireland. And the first question is, will your company be left behind? So start your Lean journey and implement your Lean roadmap. As we said before, start to investigate. Start to investigate your company, the Lean maturity of your company. Based on this, start the preparation design based on the gap analysis. After that, start the implementation phase. And finally, control and standardize your results. And getting the results, start to think what can you improve? How can you get to the next Lean level? So if you can describe what you are doing as a process, you don't know what you are doing. Thank you. Thank you for your time. And if you have some questions, I'm available. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Viviane. You hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you very
we can
much.
hear
That was
you.
great. And really, really good infographics there, you know, going through what's happening, very clear. There's a few questions here. So will I read them out for you? Okay.
Okay.
So Francis Robertson says, thanks, Viviane. Which professional disciplines do you think are best prepared to take on this area of specialization?
Well, if you think about the best disciplines regarding how to start to understand more lean construction, is it?
Yes, that's construction, yes.
Yeah, I don't know in Ireland here, but you need to. I don't know if there is lean courses here in Ireland, but I believe there is a group that starts to create it, and I believe that you need to start to think regarding in terms of productivity, what you can improve, in your process. So maybe in Ireland there is a course regarding the production engineering, and you can start to think about what is the wastes on your company, what can be improved in your process, because we know construction is different from manufacturing. But if you think about improvement, both of them can be improved. Both of them have process, because the way we do construction is the same for years. And you just need to think about what you can improve in your process, because lean is a continuous improvement, and you need to think what you can improve. So right now, what you can do is like think about what kind of waste you have in your process, you have in your work, and start to think how you can reduce the cost, how you can reduce the use of material. So if you start doing this, you were starting lean, because lean is continuous improvement. Lean is not just the use of tools. So even though you didn't have a proper qualification in lean, if you start to think about what you can improve in your process, in your company, you are going to start to think lean. For instance, if you are in a construction site and you know there is a wastage in concrete, you can start to think, how can you reduce this? How can you reduce the time of the operation is put in concrete, or the time of the crew? So when you start to think regarding this process, you will start to think lean. So
Okay. And the processes there that Billy's been going through, lean processes, you know, by implementing reductions. We've got some more questions here for you, Viviane. Hello from David Collier. And actually, David Collier has also put a comment up there that there's a BIM in Lean Construction Management IT Sligo Level 9 as an online course. Okay. But David's asking the question there, did you look at any other lean assessment tools to use before selecting Helma assessment?
well, there is another platform. There's another platform, but the Helm assessment is used in UK, so it's more friendly user. So this is why I start to use the Helm assessment. But there is other platforms in Canada, and there is in another countries too. But they were created by the researchers that they start to use regarding the experience their own country. So as Ireland is more like if you think about European countries, and due to the proximity of Ireland and UK, I start to use the Helma.
Okay. Another question in here from Rob Cass. Hi, Viviane, what are the high-level improvements in metrics, safety, time, cost, waste reduction for these cases, as lean is in FMCG but not construction, which has 10 to 15% waste? And then who are the top performers in lean in Ireland, and who's lagging?
Well, if you think about Ireland, in my research last year, I received some inputs, but most of them was confidential. And this is why I can answer now who is the leader and who is behind. But if you go through the Lean book of cases of Lean Constructs Ireland, you can see all the companies I put in my presentation in the last slide was company that started to put the Lean cases in the Lean book of cases in Lean Constructs Ireland. So they start to implement, but to understand what level each one, I should assess every company to understand what level of Lean they are. So now I cannot say, oh, this company A is the leader, because I need to assess the company. I need to understand what level of Lean the company are, what they have implemented until now. So that's it. And if you think about the most improvement you can do, it's like it will depend on the projects. It will depend on the maturity of the company. It will depend of the training the engineers received. So every company and every project will be different from each other. Every site will have a kind of layout, and every site will be different. So it will really depend on the maturity of the company. It will really depend on the maturity of the crew. It will really depend on the kind of Lean knowledge the engineers have, and if they are prepared to do it, and if the company support them, because some company doesn't support the engineers. So this is another problem. So we need to have the support of the leadership. We need to have the support of the management, because otherwise the engineer will not start to think about how they can improve if they don't receive a support. Because for them it will be like, okay, it will be just more work for me. I will not be rewarded. Why am I gonna do this? So the company needs to provide the support for the engineers. They need to provide the training. So, and again, every company, every site will be different. So the improvement that one company reaches not be the same for the other company, because every company have different problems.
Okay. Thank you, Viviane. There's no more questions there. Any last questions there, or we'll move on? I think we'll move on, Viviane. But thank you very much.
Okay.
And thank you for all the sorry about the delay at the start. That was very good there. Now we're going to try, I think, if you can stop sharing your screen, Viviane. And I think Suzanne is going to share her screen with my presentation. And we're going to try Suzanne presenting it and me speaking, because I've got, yes, I can. My download speed's okay. So this reminds me of Oliver and Hardy. Hopefully it won't turn out quite the same, but we're Stan's holding the nail. Sorry, Oliver's holding the nail and Stan's got the hammer, and Ollie says, when I nod my head, hit it. So I'm just checking behind me there, and there's no inflatable hammer there.
No.
Okay. I'll just say click then, Suzanne, and hopefully this works okay.
Fine.
I'll say click. Again, yeah, click. We've covered that, yeah. And so on the next one, and just an update on where we are in WIT. Technical University of the Southeast is progressing along nicely. There's a lot of activity on the go, with us due to be ready to start there in January 2022. So that is where we're at with that. And if we just got to the next slide. So just to fill in for people who are not sure what I'm talking there, Technical University of Southeast is IT Carlow and WIT combining to make the Technical University of the Southeast. And as so just in there, this is from our School of Engineering, just some of the courses and areas that we cover. Okay, and some new ones that have come in there in the last few years would be fire engineering and building regulatory control. Okay, everyone just move on. Thanks. Click.
Oh, hang on.
And there's the dream sequence. Yeah, this is our new engineering, computing and general teaching building, which is finally moving. It's been we decanted quite a few years ago in order to facilitate this, and now it's on the horizon of happening, due to open in September 2023 up in the main campus. Okay, so if we just click on. Okay, so look, I'm going to just do a little very quick there. Anytime I do these bits of presentations, I like to just show some of the work that the students are doing. And I'm going to show, this is just it's a small bit of project that we do, but it's really quite significant when we think about it, because the stuff the students are doing now, this is second year, semester 4, the first 4 to 6 weeks. It's not a studio project, it's communications and BIM. So it's totally separate to studio. Anybody involved in architecture and technology type teaching, it's studio based, and studio is king, queen and jack of everything. And other modules kind of feed into it. So this is a module that we do. It's a bit of fun, but it's to learn about workflows and how to model quickly for doing quick outcomes. If you've got to do a proposal on a site very quickly. So this is Skyscraper I Love You, tall building project, and the students to select a significant tall building, create a model using massing and solid modeling techniques, creating floors, external skin, geolocate your building, and have a bit of fun with the building out of context. Right, explore visualization techniques along with environmental software for wind, solar, daylight, shadow and energy analysis, and then create an audiovisual presentation as a how-to from initial modeling to final analysis, still images and movies. So there's a selection of some of the towers that have been used. So if we can click there, please. Okay, as I say, it's about workflow. Okay, and that is some of the different softwares that have been used. Not all students used all softwares. It's been a mixture of the different softwares, okay, in order to create the final outcome. So we'll just click on there. And I think what's really important to take in mind here is that this is second year, semester 4 at the very start, January, February. And the type of work that we're doing with the students now, we would have been doing a few years ago in fourth year, and a few years before that, the technology wasn't available, and so everything is coming down. The students' ability to use and use 3D softwares is it really is becoming a natural environment. You look back at things like Minecraft and the various video games that students are playing. So they're coming in, ready for this. And that's just some of the initial modeling. If we want to just click on. And so this is done in Format, which is a bit of product. And if we click there again, Suzanne, and another video play. Okay, so this is just where they're bringing in images, topography into the Format and doing that initial modeling. Okay, can we just move on one again? So you might recognize some of these locations. It's something we could have a quiz with. But again, model development and then bringing that from Format into Revit. And Revit is used, to enhance the model, but also as a stepping stone into other softwares and tools. We can click on. Okay, and some of the students looked at bringing Dynamo into the process to create context. So that's using Dynamaps. Okay, we'll click on there. You can see all the links of Dynamo visual programming. And then Format for some solar analysis. So, I mean, these models can get done quickly, but there's also then the ability to do analysis from them. Okay, so in these situations, they're looking at the energy of the sun that is building and help in that design process. You can see there Some of the locations you might recognise: New Ross, Wexford, Waterford. Okay. If we move on there, please. Okay, and I think, yeah, if it clicks, that's video is not coming through to here. But again, that's on some analysis. Take the projects and run it through. What you should see on the screen, there's lots of options for selecting types of glaze, different facades and different types of materials. So we can click on there, and that's using Autodesk Insight, that bit of software. And one more click, and that'll play. Okay, but this is you know, great for visuals. It's flow design, wind analysis, and you can bring your model in and you can get these really informative bits of information on how these towers are performing, and different ways of analyzing that information. And we had an excellent talk by a guy, Chris Bacala, tall building around the world, and some pretty famous buildings he's been involved in. And you know, he was telling us the ability to have this type of analysis in the early design process would save them tens of thousands. You know, he was explaining there, to get a model made and wind tunnel tested is in the region of €30,000. So you know, to test some designs early on is great. You know, okay. And click. Thanks. And one more click. So this is a piece of software that we, oh, sorry, just go back one. Yeah, thanks. Just go back, Suzanne, to the InfraWorks there. So these are the InfraWorks models, okay, where we're bringing, capturing large pieces of up to 200 square kilometers of terrain. InfraWorks then gives you the topography, overlays the satellite image, and will, as best it can, provide editable roads and editable buildings on that. You know, now you still need to go in and do a little bit of working with them, but in its raw form, you know, you get a pretty good context that you can work with. Okay, and quite often we would turn the buildings all white, for instance, depending on what we're trying to show. So, you know, within that, as we can see there, there's a tower in Cork. The tower there is also, the student's given us an example of the tower down there at the bottom left in Cork, and to the left of that in its native location in Manhattan. And again, these models are quickly taken from InfraWorks, and then you link in your Revit models into that. Okay, well, we move on one. Do you want to click there, Suzanne, please?
Do you want that video to play? You don't
you're okay. You're okay. We'll move on. Okay, and then, you know, linking into Enscape, which is becoming, so we just go back one. Yeah, thank you. And so linking into Enscape and doing some visualizations from there, which is, you know, becoming pretty standard now with the students finding that to be a better place to go and do their renders and trying to render out of the render engine from Revit. And we just pop on another one there, which is Twin Motion, which is another step up where we can actually start. If you click again, please, Suzanne, and you should see there that movement, you know, both cars moving around within the videos that are presented. So, you know, the technology, this technology, I think is only maybe 4 years old that I'm aware of, that freely accessed there. One of the videos early on used 3ds Max to bring in movement. So it's just a quick sort of taster there, just of a kind of good fun project, you know, and I think it's great to get these images coming in there and the back of your Oxford Harbour, you know. So well done to all the students on that, and it's really does show how our industry is changing has changed and is continually changing, and to keep up to speed where we were going. So, thank you for that. That was just a quick short piece that was a wee taster. Okay. So I think we're over time there, Suzanne.
We are.
I
think a lot of people have had to drop off in the last few minutes. So
yeah, but thanks for
Okay. So wrap that up there now, Suzanne.
We will. That was super. Thanks a million, Gordon, and to Billy,
thanks for everything, guys,
and to Viviane.
Yeah,
they were great presentations, and it has been recorded, so it will be spliced up and put onto the CitA YouTube channel. So if you aren't already subscribed to that, please do, and you'll be able to keep up with that.